The Cabernet Franc that we make in Ontario has a great tannin structure, and being making wine on the Beamsville bench, one of the unique factors here is that our wines have a quintessential acidity which really contributes to their aging potential. So say compared to something like you would find from the Loire or Bordeaux, our wines just have a little more minerality, and in respect again to the tannins, which is something that's really important in red wine, they offer a lot of structure and ageability. So say in the Loire you have some of those green characteristics on the nose, but really soft and focused acidity, but balanced mouthfeel. The wines that we make here can be similar to that for the majority of the time. As you know, we grow grapes in a cool climate, so as a result we have wines that have a lot of finesse and some herbal characteristics on the nose, but also accented with some really great fruit characteristics as well, like some red fruits, and in some of the riper years you can even get into some of the darker berries. Obviously, depending upon how they're aged in the cellars, whether or not your oak profile is something that's going to dominate the wine. Ours here at 30 Bench isn't. It's something that complements the wine itself. We look for an oak that's going to offer a little bit of toastiness, and again a little bit more just tannin structure, just to fill in any of the holes that may have been there from the vineyard, but also again to increase the ageability of the wine itself. Cab Franc is a red grape variety that's suited very well to be grown in Ontario. As long as it's balanced in respect to fruit in the vineyard, so not cropping the vines too heavily, keeping the tonnages low, the fruit can attain an amazing amount of ripeness in respect to bricks, but as well as physiological ripeness. And along with that great physiological ripeness comes a great array of mouthfeel and tannin and wines with great character. So one of the other great reasons that it grows well here is it ripens a little bit earlier than its friend Cab Sauv, but also it is quite winter hardy. So again, if you respect the vines in the vineyard and you make sure that they're not cropping too heavily and having too much fruit on them, they can withstand quite cold temperatures, which is something that we typically or periodically deal with in Ontario. Cab Franc is a very versatile grape variety. It could be something that's picked relatively early and used as a rosé, so something that's saignayed or bled from a fermenting wine, or something that goes direct to press as well, so you're not picking up many of those green tannins that could potentially be present, and made to make a very elegant rosé. Obviously, a table wine is another option for Cab Franc as well, so something that could see either stainless steel ferment followed by stainless steel aging, or something that could get run to barrel and could potentially age for a tremendous amount of time depending upon the year. But also its resilience to winter allows it to be a viable grape option to be used for ice wine as well. And it's something we made an ice wine out of Cab Franc and Cab Sauv back in 2006, which was a bit of a curiosity for us. It's not something we typically do, but I know in the area there's quite a lot of producers that make Cab Franc ice wines as well. Also, Cab Franc is a variety that comes in, that we have access to in respect to various clones and rootstocks. And the combination that we have here at 30 Bench is very well suited for the soil in which it was planted. At the winery here, we've got a mixture of limestone and loam and some sand as well in various spots. Not a tremendous amount, it's mainly clay loam, but there are some little pockets as well. But our Cab Franc block is isolated from the winery. It's so isolated that we've actually been able to attain organic certification, and we've been farming it organically now for the last 5 vintages. So although it doesn't say it is on the label, it has been farmed organically, and that's another aspect of Cab Franc, that it is very resilient to disease as well as pests that are local to us in Ontario and up here on the Beamsville Bench. So that's one of the aspects that I love working with it, and because it is almost separate from our vineyard, it's a really fun spot for me just to go and check out the vines and just sort of hang out there and get a real sense for how they're developing on the vine. And we'll go through and make decisions about the crop load that the vines are going to hold for the year, and then when harvest date actually comes, it's something that can go directly into one of our wood fermenters. It's a grape variety that spends medium to long time on skins, so from a maceration standpoint it'll spend anywhere between 14 to 21 days depending upon the year, at which point it will get pressed and then run to predominantly French oak barrels, but there's about 15 to 20% American oak as well, because I find some of that sweet characteristic from the American oak really complements the Cab Franc nicely. And And the wines that we make here that do go into our upper tier Cab Franc usually end up spending between 18 to 24 months in barrel. So it's a great variety that lends itself really well to winemaking intervention in respect to helping develop it into a wine, but it's also something that really demonstrates a unique characteristic as well.